This is Fly Information. It's an interview series that I do as a spin-off from my mix show. My mix show is called After the Smoke is Clear. You can find hour-long episodes every week where we're playing the newest hip-hop from across the country, coast to coast. I try to pay attention and, play the music that I like the most. And DJ Dice and I put together hour-long mixes for After the Smoke is Clear. So that's AtSick. This is Fly Information. And on Fly Information, I'm talking to different artists, trying to learn as much as I can about the individual scenes across the country so that I can be more tapped in, learn more about the artists themselves, and also find more artists to play on After the Smoke is Clear. Today, I'm talking with JRoberts. He's an MC based out of Toronto who has been doing a lot of work lately and has put out a lot of music that I like. So thanks for joining me, Jay.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
So are you originally from Toronto, or are you one of the many artists who's kind of moved there, to try to find his way into the music industry?
No, I born there, lived there, recently left. The housing market's crazy, so I took a turn outside of there. So yeah.
So you're still in the greater Toronto area then? You're
yeah. No,
Toronto?
I'm actually far from Toronto now. But yeah, I frequent the area still.
Okay, but you still rep Toronto.
Yeah, always.
So dude, how long have you been rapping for? Like you seem to me kind of like one of these artists who's just popped up fully formed. Like you just, a lot of artists, you can kind of watch the progression, but you seem to have just sprung onto the scene and you're already at this like high level of lyricism. Were you making music before you were known as JRoberts?
So I've been making music for, I'd say, at least 10 plus years. But I've never put it out, never had a project, never had anything on streaming platforms. So I guess COVID hit. One of my friends was like, you should start an Instagram page and start doing these weekly rap challenges. And I was like, yeah, sure. We got nothing else to do, right? So I started doing that and started noticing that I was being received quite well. So then I did one joint project with a guy from the Bay, in America, called Eyes Low. Now that was like a 6-track EP that kind of got me going, and kind of got my name a little bit out there. Not really my sound, but still a great project. And after that, I just started to just go for it and start releasing music.
Yeah, man. So West Coast production, does it have like a real West Coast vibe to it, or what kind of beats?
Yeah. The beats are crazy, like real, like trappy, kind of West Coasty, and something that I typically wouldn't go on, but I'm glad I did because it pushed my pen and it came out great and jump-started my career.
Did you think about the branding of the name JRoberts? Like, in an era when search engine optimization is really important, going with what I assume is like, your government name is kind of a, questionable play or whatever. I think there's a lot of artists who want to try to be found on search engines, and I know you might not be able to get just the name JRoberts. Like I saw on Twitter, there's a bunch of different people named JRoberts. Is it something you thought about when you were choosing a name to go with, or why'd you choose to go with your given name?
Yeah, well, before I had an alias, like people were calling me Junior Red for a time, because that also is my initials, JR. So I ran with that for a time. Like I have one music video called Infinite under that alias, but it was never set in stone. So then when I started wanting to do my solo career and take it serious, I decided JRoberts because it's kind of just had a catchy ring to it. It's easy to say. And so I just went with that.
Yeah, bro, I think that's the wave these days. A lot of MCs are kind of switching away from using their ridiculous stage name to, using something more down to earth. And, they don't all want to be like me and stick with some stupid name that they chose when they were a teen, right? But So you did a ton of music in 2023, like a bunch of singles and features, and then it kind of built up to your full album, Shamrocks and Machine Guns, late in 2023. Have you you haven't been doing as much though in 2024? Have you just been kind of letting Shamrocks and Machine Guns breathe a little bit? What have you been up to this year?
So 2022, we came out with Northside, with Mickey Fax, Sky Zoo. That was my very first project I've ever done. Did incredibly well. So that the reception off that is what led to me wanting to continue. Obviously, I love it, but it has to make sense, right?
Right.
So I came into the next year guns blazing. I was doing a single a month. You know, I kind of worked scattered. So half the singles from last year was just shit I wanted to just put out, and with a couple of singles for Shamrocks. So then we dropped Shamrocks, went #1, did incredibly well. And then, so while I was forming music for the next year, like I have about, I say 3.5 projects done. But now this year has been like a very tough year for me. My work, I work in a medical field. I work in a mental health hospital. So I'm working like 12-hour shifts, scattered hours. It's ramping up a bit. Also, I have a wedding coming up and stuff. So that's taken a lot of my time.
Congratulations.
Since January.
That's dope.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I dropped the RJ Payne track in January, which is doing incredibly well, which kind of kept me afloat. So right now I'm just preparing my release plan for my next album.
Nice, man. So have you thought about like when the next album will drop, or when should people be looking out for that?
So I have a weird thing about like my birthday in September. I've been dropping an album. So Northside was on my birthday in 2022. Shamrocks was on my birthday 2023. So I want to say I won't do it this year, but I'll probably end up doing it again.
You know, that
year.
makes sense actually for like synergy wise as well, because some of the platforms like Facebook or whatever will promote your birthday post more to people. So it'll help get seen, you know? Yeah, that could be a good look, man.
That's right.
I saw you mention on Threads you'd recorded a song recently that actually, like, you know, brought a tear to the eye, and it made me want to ask, like, I think a lot of rappers who are kind of in that street lane, you know, don't often cross over into emotionally charged territory where it might be something that hits that hard. Can I just ask you to talk about that song a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So before this track, I did another kind of personal one. So it's called Dear Jameson. That was on Shamrocks. So that one was a serious track, but not really a personal tearjerker. So this one is more so like a father type of song. So more about like you know, the typical father ran off, blah 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 blah. But I guess it's the way that I penned it after I listened to it. It was kind of like a therapy session. I was like, geez, this is a pretty heavy track. So I showed it to a couple of my mates, and the reception's been quite well. So I think this is a song in the future that I think will do quite well. Nice,
man. I love to see artists with emotional range like that. Do you think we'll see more singles before the album, or are you in album mode at this point?
So for the album I'm going to drop this year, I think I have one more single I'm going to release. Probably we're in May, so you'll probably see it end of June. That'll be the last single in preparations for the album drop. This album has the single Street Locked with Mickey Diamond. That's the first single. And then the RJ Payne Keep It Moving. That was the second single. Mainly produced by Body Bag Ben, if you've heard of his name.
I think I just remember seeing him on that track actually talking about there. Yeah.
So, he's a great producer. And then I wrapped the album up with a couple producers here and there to make it a full-length album. So, yeah, you should expect one definitely this year.
Hey, right on, man. So is Body Bag Ben Toronto-based then?
No, he's out in Cali.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Body Bag's worked with, like, all the OGs down there. He just came in with an album. You know Vegas 7 to Ronin?
Yeah, I've heard that name for sure.
Yeah. So he just dropped an album with him that was outstanding. So I'm excited to get a project in with him.
Dope. I'll have to check it. Do you have roots on the West Coast, or how'd this link up?
Listen, I have no idea. So my buddy Eyes Low, we met through a mutual rapping platform called Dominion. that's where I met a lot of like the Show Rockers, the Eyes Lows, a couple other underground guys, and we have like kind of a community. So that's where kind of that link started. And then I heard Body Bag Ben instrumental while I was just on Instagram, and I tapped into it, and I was like, geez, like it was right up my alley. So I sent him a DM. It all made sense, and we took it from there.
We've been trying for weeks to make this interview happen. A few weeks back, I had tech difficulties. The mic wasn't recording on my end, you know, and then last week you were out in Florida, I believe you said, right? Yeah, for a bachelor party. How'd that go, dude? How was Florida?
It went really well, minus getting sick.
Yeah. Were you feeling sick actually while you were down still in Florida, or was it
a little bit? I was just powering through.
Yeah, man. Damn. Well, glad to see you're back on home turf, and happy you could join me again, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, dude. So last time we talked a little bit, but I still had a lot of questions to ask, so I figured we could just jump right back in kind of from where we left off. No reason to 100%. Retread over what we already talked about, but I guess, so like bachelor party, man, you're getting married on, did you say Friday or Saturday?
Friday, yeah.
Damn, so big week this week then, man. I appreciate you taking the time out. It must be a busy week or whatever for you.
It is, bro.
Had you been to Florida before?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Florida.
Okay, nice. So yeah, last time I talked to you, you were telling me about Connects, who had been producing for you out on the West Coast or whatever. But sounds like you got roots all over.
Oh yeah.
So, dude, you've done a lot of work. Like, you know, you've worked with Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine, RJ Payne, Show Rocka, Mickey Fax, Skyzoo, Justo, like lots and lots of dudes from America.
Yeah.
How did a lot of those come about, man? Like, is it people you've actually slapped hands with, or is it more of like an online kind of reach out and connect that way, or?
Yeah. So, when I started working on my debut project, Northside, my very first single, I was like, you know, if I'm going to go for this, I might as well reach out and get a heavy hitter. So I messaged Mickey Fax, and we chopped it up a bit. And he was my first like big time feature, which ended up getting me all over Shady 45, got me all the streams. Like it kind of jump started my career to where I was taking it more serious. So then after that, I noticed how easy it was to kind of contact some people if you want to work. So within the craft that I'm doing and my dedication, I guess I'm making noise, plus I'm reaching out.
Yeah.
And it's just been able to work out like that, just reaching out, chopping it up, and if it makes sense on both ends, and then it can happen.
Beautiful, man. So is it just basically you yourself doing cold calls, or like do you have a manager or some sort of team behind the scenes?
No manager,
okay.
No team. Any door I've opened, I've just been networking relentlessly to break down the doors that I can do myself.
Nice, man. So would you say like getting those features, is it more just because like you really want to work with those artists, or is it as much kind of a marketing scheme to like get, because I know, you know, like you just mentioned, it gets a lot of streams coming in if
100%.
You know, people who are already following Benny the Butcher, he's already got millions of followers. Now you're popping up on their timeline when your guys' song comes out.
I would say anybody that I work with, it's because I generally respect their pen.
Yeah.
I won't work with anybody even if it's going to propel me. I have to respect you and want to work with you. So, and I'm quite selective with who I work with. Like I won't just reach out to anybody just because I think it might land me somewhere.
Yeah.
So first thing first, I have to respect your pen and want to work with you. And then I'll reach out and hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah, man, that makes sense. So when you're on a track with somebody who's a high level lyricist like that and who already is getting a lot of, you know, spotlight and attention, do you work extra hard to make sure you're bringing your A game to the table, or is the process pretty much the same, like, one way or the other?
I don't rewrite verses. Like when I craft my music, I already have who I think is going to be on it. So I'm already catering my style to blend with that person because I'm already envisioning it. Now, would I put in extra effort for certain ones? Of course, like the RJ Payne or the Mickey Fax, I know they're going to come ridiculously stupid lyrically. So I definitely cater a bit more technical But other than that, I haven't had a verse back that's made me like rethink my whole verse to want to rewrite it.
Right.
I think there was like Mickey Facts, my very first single. I think I rewrote like one bar because I was like, damn, I should have went that extra mile because I didn't know what to expect. It was my very first single,
Yeah.
you know, working with somebody big for the first time. So ever since then, it's kind of put me conditioned to be ready for what's going to come on the other end.
For real, man. Yeah. Yeah. So, dude, when you're writing and recording, like you're sitting in your studio right now, right? Those are all your plaques behind you. You said, yeah, man. So it looks like doing the features has been productive for you with a lot of accolades from Spotify. It looks like there, and yeah, iTunes.
Yeah. I got a couple of my singles have hit 100K plus.
Nice.
My debut went 500K. I got #1 album in Canada with Shamrocks and Machine Guns.
Yeah, beautiful. Congrats.
I got some like Shady 45 playlists like Static Selecta, DJ Premier that are like big legends to me.
Hell yeah.
So I like to show a couple other little things. It just gives me the inspiration sometimes when I'm in here.
Nice, man. So do you work with an engineer or like what studio is it? Is it a studio that other people can rent out, or is that your own personal studio?
I built my own studio from scratch.
Nice.
All my studio speakers, I built my own booth. And then I have a outside engineer, B1 the Architect, his name is.
Oh yeah.
He's
I play his music all the time, man. He's dope.
Yeah. He's been engineering my music since I started trying back in 2021.
Okay.
So he's typically my guy now. Shamrocks and Machine Guns was with Imperative. So we went with a Juno Award-winning engineer. His name is Jamie out of, I believe, the West Coast, Canada. So that was a bit different. But other than that, B1's typically my guy.
Nice, man. I'm talking to Imperative on June 25th. What was working with him like?
Oh, it's almost effortless. So same goes for Imperative. Like I was kind of a fan of his beats first. So I reached out to get a beat. You know, it made sense. I got the Guillotine beat, which was just going to be a single, like a one-off.
Yeah. So
I dropped that in January last year, and it kind of took off. It went everywhere. Like, and that was just with me and my boy Ason Eastwood in Toronto.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like a giant paid collab. This was off the strength, working together, and that shit ended up being just as big as the other ones. Nice, so man. With the strength of that, me and Imperative decided let's just do a project together, and that's what came about.
Nice, man. So did he send you like a pack of beats, or was he actually in studio with you as the project was coming together?
I'm typically like I don't usually do studio stuff. Like I like to work on my own time. I'm a busy man. I have 4 kids. I work 12-hour shifts, so I don't tend to go outside like as much as I'd want to. So it kind of was like Imperative was making beats on a live, and if something caught my ear, I'd be like, that's mine.
Nice.
So he never sent me beats. I literally watched half the album being made on a live.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah, man. The internet gives so much freedom that way to not just with sending files back and forth, but to actually like stream the studio session and still be able to get input as the process is happening, or, you know, give input as you see him making beats or whatever. That's dope, man.
It's helped me tremendously. It's half the reason why I'm where I'm at.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about like streaming a studio session? Like, do you ever cut on a camera and go live while you're in studio yourself?
I never thought about that. It kind of be a weird stream because I'm somebody who, like, I do write fast, but I'm a sporadic writer. So I'm jotting stuff on my phone probably 10 times a day. Right. And then I'll go in the studio and just piece shit together, record it. I do a lot of one takes. Like, I'm not a punch in type of guy. Okay. So I like to be efficient. I'll come down here, make 3 songs, boom, I'm out of here. Yeah. So, but that's something I'd like to do, like a behind the scenes thing for sure.
Yeah, man. I think that content goes a long way, just kind of on opening the door and letting people kind of in on the process or whatever. It can really, personalize things. It sounds like you make it easy on B1 though, if you're doing one takes. A lot of artists that I talk to talk about like how, like I think it was Meyer Clarity just last week was telling me, you know, if you're not going to comp together a bunch of different takes for a verse, what's the point in being in the studio or whatever? So it's interesting just hearing different perspectives on that. You're a one take guy?
if I can't one take it, means I can't perform it, means
Yeah.
I will not be putting it on wax. I want to be able to show the public if I'm performing that I can perform.
Yeah.
If I can't do breath control, if I can't punch in, if I can't work on my cadences, then that's all worthless. It's just going to be music on wax, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. So, dude, you've been finding a lot of success, it looks like, and you know, I've been watching as the momentum builds or whatever. Something that I've been asking guys recently is like, as an indie artist, would you could you ever see yourself signing to a major label? Like, is that even something that would be you know, attractive at all? Or
That's a funny question. The grand scheme of it, it sounds nice,
yeah,
but realistically, it's not the best route. The only thing I would want to sign is like maybe a distribution deal where a label will fund me money and help me make product like vinyl or merch or CDs, or help fund something. But I wouldn't do a full deal because it's not in it for the artist, and it just makes it less fun.
hell yeah, man. I agree completely. I think more artists who build, because the thing with it used to be that labels would have A&Rs who would swoop in and find upcoming talent and help develop it or whatever. And that's just completely out of the game at this point. They wait until somebody already has 1 million followers and,
100%.
you know, is already doing big numbers before they come and offer the bigger distribution deal or whatever. And it always confuses me a little bit when people still sign those things. But I mean, I guess when you see the bag on the table, it's got to be, you know, a little bit tempting too. So I can't really blame anybody, but yeah.
My behalf is a bit different. Like, I don't rely on music. Music is a passion. I made a lot of money within this last year, but that's an added bonus to my life. I have a career. This is something I do because I have a passion for it. If I didn't end up making it big or making money, it's whatever to me, you know? So that's my stance, my own personal stance.
That's a great stance to have as an indie man. I appreciate that and love hearing people tell me that. Something I saw online just last week was people talking about, and there were people answering both sides of this, but the question was, would you rather make one $20 CD sale or get 30,000 streams?
Oh, that's easy. I'd rather the CD sale. 30,000 streams equates to like $5.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Okay. So I think the power there too is that like somebody who's buying a CD, that's somebody who's more likely to actually be like a follow through fan too,
100%.
Right?
That's a real fan.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Merch over everything. That's the way it goes.
Do you have a decent merch store going? Are you selling stuff?
I have a website that I have a couple loose leaves left of my debut. Custom painting too. It was really well done, but and a couple of t-shirts left, but I haven't really stocked up. I've been so busy. And, you know, I still have shamrocks and machine guns I could probably do a drop for with some t-shirts and stuff, but I have a hard time finding the time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. #1 album in Canada for a while, and you didn't even do hard copies of it, eh?
I did nothing, bro. I was slipping.
I mean, yes and no, dude. I think, you know, the days of physicals are kind of limited. And especially like if you don't have the tour lined up where you know you're going to be selling all that stuff, it's often a big investment that is kind of a question mark on whether or not it's coming back unless you've got all those dates, right? Yeah. So, dude, do you listen to a lot of local music? Do you hear, I mean, you mentioned working with Ace on Eastwood. He's somebody who's bubbling in the Toronto scene. And Imperative and stuff. Are you fairly tapped in with like the Toronto underground scene?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a like Tona, Ace on Eastwood. Those are the two I'm playing quite a bit. King Bonarello, the No Face Crew, Shea Uno. Yeah. Those type of lads. Ayo Biggs. He's actually, I just worked with him. He's a crazy artist from Toronto. Yeah. So I'm tapped in enough. Obviously, I have a lot more connections, say the East Coast, like New York area. Okay. That's been predominantly who I work with, kind of where my sound caters as well. Yeah, for sure. But I obviously try to work with the home team. It's not as easy at times. Obviously, you know, you'll always get more love outside of the city you're from. But Ason's a real stand-up dude. you know, one of the realest dudes that I've been able to link with in person, hopefully one day. But he's just a real good guy and a good rapper.
Yeah, man, I got a chance to talk to him for Fly Information, and it was a great talk. He seemed like a really smart guy. It was just
100%.
yeah, really good to connect with him. So you also do a lot of features with artists who aren't established as much. So like, what's kind of the criteria that separates guys who you want to work with from others?
Before I like kind of jumped through the stratosphere with my career, I was working with pretty much almost anybody. After last year, I stopped that. It's going to be either you pay me or I have to really respect your craft and you're bringing something to the table that coincides with my brand.
Right.
So I don't want anything tarnishing my brand or you know, coming off kiltered. So that's pretty much moving forward. It's going to be like a paid thing or like a respect thing.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned that, you know, you're doing well. I think it was last time when I was talking to you, you said that you're in like healthcare of some type, right? Yeah. So that you're doing well with your regular day job career. And this isn't so much for the financial gain.
No.
Can I ask, what does success as a musician look like for you?
It's already what it is. Made a name for myself working with people that I've always wanted to work with. And I'm on the radio. I'm on Sirius satellite pretty much every single drop. I was on Mixtape North like 200 times last year, which is a Sirius station, on Shady 45. Like that was my goal for life. You know, when I got my first spin, I was already good now. So anything moving past this is a plus. If I get the opportunity to perform, I have, but because of my life, I can't really jump into those opportunities.
Right.
So that's, I guess, another thing moving forward, maybe start hitting the stages more. But as it stands now, I've done everything that I'd like to do. I had over 1 million streams. That was a huge goal for me. So yeah, I just keep pushing and do what I love.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on, you know, already being the success that you were aiming at, dude. That's dope. You mentioned, like, you know, having over 1 million streams. What are your thoughts on Spotify? Is a lot of artists really hate on Spotify? Yeah,
it's whack, bro. So the only good thing about Spotify is it has helped me gain some streaming followers, and like, I guess, buff up my numbers to look pretty at the end of the year. But you know, in the long term goal, 1 million streams get you like $1,800, which is nothing. Like that's nothing. So you know, it looks good. It makes you look, I guess, a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I stopped caring about it. I used to be really fixated on numbers.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's pretty much just an added bonus to get my music in ears that I might not have.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I think as a music discovery platform, it's it does well. You know, it helps a lot of indie artists get their music out to bigger crowds or whatever like that. But yeah, man, nobody's paying their bills off of it. So I yell that everybody needs to buy music as much as they can. 100%. If you actually find music you like on Spotify, yeah, exactly. Go pay for it.
Get the Bandcamp running.
Hell yeah.
Run that.
Yeah, so you got Bandcamp set up?
Oh yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, Bandcamp gives the biggest cut to artists. For anybody who's watching, that's a gem right there. Go support artists on Bandcamp. 100%. Dude, what else did I want to ask you here? Okay, how about this one? Should an artist stick to one sound or switch up kind of album to album? I think, you know, different artists take different approaches to it.
So that's tough. See, for me, I have so many sounds I want to do, but I know what's working for me. Right. I've came out with 2 albums. They've done extremely well. And I don't know if I'm steering away from that anytime soon. Now, I have a sound that's already unique with my voice and stuff. And I typically tend to pick beats that aren't all the same. I like to do, like, every album will have a feel-good song. It'll have a grimy song. It'll have like a personal song. So that allows me to kind of already transition through albums, but in a sense of like just completely going left pocket. Until I feel my fan base is very locked in, I do not see myself staring away from that.
Yeah, man. How about this one? Are there sacrifices that you feel like an artist has to make to be successful? And what 100%. Would those sacrifices be?
There's tons of sacrifices. Your personal life, your friends, your family, your work. It depends what you want out of it and how far you want to go. I know for me, I could probably be 10 steps ahead if I put my personal career on the back burner. I stepped away from my family for a month, but I'm not that type of guy. It's family over everything. I have it tattooed for a reason.
Yeah.
But there's many sacrifices. It depends on what you're catering to and what you want, I would say.
Yeah, dude. You've got a bar that I picked out when I was listening to your music. It said, I haven't even hit my 40s, but I'm still in the top category. And that made me want to ask, because I've asked other people, but do you think hip hop is as much of a young man's game as people always try to make it out to be?
So I think it is, but it isn't. Like, obviously the younger cats have more ambition and drive. They need something to prove. But obviously as you get older, your vocabulary changes to the better. You start learning more about what works.
Yeah.
I would say middle age is kind of where it's at. 30s. I'm 33. And I find that, like, if I try to do this in my 20s, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So I've taken my time and allowed myself to get prepared.
I like that, man. I think just life experience building too helps a lot,
100%.
right? Like, I think a lot of artists kind of hit their stride in their 30s, do a lot of experimenting with different sounds and styles or whatever through the 20s.
Bro, I have music from when I was like 17 until about 28 on a thumb drive.
Right.
I would never put that music out.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 300 songs, so different. I was just finding myself. A lot of it was angry.
Right.
You know, I didn't listen to criticism. Then when I jumped online in 2020, made an Instagram account and started rapping, I had some close people kind of like, you know, give me little tips that I wouldn't have heard before, which has allowed me to get to the place lyrically and vocally that I am now.
How do you feel about social media in general? You just said that you didn't have an Instagram before you created one to start putting raps out on.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have one if you weren't an artist?
So I have a personal one, but if I wasn't an artist, I don't think I would, because like I wouldn't see a point. Like it's allowed me definitely to get in avenues that I could just not do online. Like I'm not much for content. Like, it's tiring. You know, I've slowed down on content creating. It's like a second bloody job in itself.
Yeah.
Having to show promo, having to roll out your projects, your singles, make sure you're rapping once a week so people are still remembering you. You know, it's
you're telling me, man. Yeah, it's a nonstop grind. Yeah.
Oof. So I'm glad now I'm at a position where I don't need to put a video out every other day, you know, but it still requires me to do the same work, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, man, for sure. I saw you talking on Threads. Like, you're, you know, for somebody who doesn't love social media, you're one of the only rappers that I see actually posting shit on Threads, like, which is strange because I feel like MCs should have a lot of opinions to spout off or whatever, and it just seems like a lot of guys are real quiet unless it's like, here's my new album or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you get those posts. But anyways, I saw you say something about how people need to stop claiming GOAT status, that it's ridiculous. Some of these people like crowning themselves as the GOAT. And I agreed, like 100%, man. I wanted to ask though, like, do you believe in the idea of a best rapper? Like, is there a greatest of all time rapper? And who would you say it is if there is one?
So for me, it's like that stemmed from me seeing an underground cat that's not even going really anywhere saying that he's the greatest and his album's going to be the greatest. That to me is like, I get you have to be like, stand on your product, but that's just blasphemy to me, you know? So in a sense, to me, is there a greatest rapper of all time? I find that's extremely subjective. Now, do I have my own GOAT? I do, and it's Tupac.
Nice.
And that to me, that has not changed since I was like 7 years old. But do I have like a 5 GOATs presently? Yeah, I do. Like, I think Nas is a GOAT. I think M is a GOAT, even though he gets a lot of hate.
Sure.
Pac, I think Jay-Z's a GOAT in his own sense.
Hell yeah.
You know, so there's a couple up there that I think are untouchable.
I agree, man. I have kind of a, you know, top 5 or 6 that on any given day I might tell you a different one, but yeah, some of the ones 100%. You just mentioned might be in there. Maybe Ghostface as well. I'd throw it on the list, but yeah, dude.
100%.
So there's a segment that I do with everybody where I ask how important is this or that, and you can be as brief or as long-winded as you want to be. But how important do you think making music videos is?
Mm, in the middle.
Yeah.
I think it's phasing out.
Yeah, I think that's why that's an interesting one to ask, because
It's
you know,
good content, but
five,
it's not worth spending $5,000 on.
yeah, man, they're expensive as hell. And 5 or 10 years ago, that was, what you needed.
Yep.
They told you don't
100%.
put a song out unless you've got the video ready to go.
Yep.
And now I think it's more short form content is kind of
Yep.
taking over. So if you got a 30-second, minute long clip to go along with it, it's almost just as good as
You
having the
got
full
an iPhone
length.
15 Pro?
There you
That's
go.
all you need.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How important is getting grants for a Canadian artist?
Ooh. So I guess this would mean that it's very important. So
Okay.
yeah, this, like, I think grants, I have yet to attain one, but I'm always trying because any free money helps the project.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Free money's always good.
That's right.
How about how important is having a DJ or a hype man for your stage show?
Ooh. DJ, yes, this. But hype man, depends.
Yeah.
Depends. If they don't really know you too well, it's just going to make your performance worse.
Yeah, you don't want random hype men up there, but if it's somebody who really knows your material or whatever,
then it can definitely help.
Yeah, hell yeah. Give you space to take a breath here and there or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, and just add extra hype.
Yeah.
How about, because of the whole big battle that just took place there, how important is it to be able to write a good diss track for an MC? You ever wrote diss tracks?
Yes. I haven't done any on wax really, but I've definitely been in some battles, and it's very important. You got to be able to prove your worthiness with the pen, whether it be negative or positive. You got to be prepared at all times.
Yeah.
Your pen, not someone else's. Your pen.
Hell yeah, man. That's actually something I've been asking the last couple MCs too. Is like, how important is it that an MC writes their own bars?
10,000% important.
Yeah.
If you don't write your own bars, you don't deserve to be a rapper.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man. I just like hearing guys say it so that we can have the clip and make more people
100%.
know that all the artists who do this shit themselves think that everybody should do this shit themselves. What are we doing if you're not saying your own words? Like, yeah. So I've seen you say online you can't be bothered to sell tickets for like gigs or whatever. So another one of these how important questions I ask a lot of people and get opinions all over the board for, because it's worked well for some guys, but how important is it to open for big name rappers when they come through town?
It all depends on what you want to get out of it. See, for me, I did it a couple times and I realized it was a giant waste of money for myself. I'm muling myself for $1,000+ for a 10-minute set.
Right.
That's not paying me money. And realistically, I'm not selling my merch. Nobody knows me.
Yeah.
It's quick. Half the time you're first, you got a quarter of the venue filled. And honestly, it looks good on paper, I guess, to gloat, but it ain't doing shit for you. I'm actually well against it. I stopped.
Yeah, dude. I feel that. I was never for that. I always thought pay to play was kind of,
it's whack.
It's like a Ponzi scheme or something. You're making promoters a lot of money. I think you're right though that it does look good, especially like as far as maybe. Like a lot of people get grants based off their grant application showing, oh, I've opened for all these guys, right? And I think the people awarding grants don't often really know what dope MCs sound like. So they're just also choosing who's got the best resume, right?
I find it does actually open doors maybe in the future where they're like, yo, we've seen you open up for 10+ artists. How about we put you on the bill now?
Hell yeah.
So I can see the pros and cons of it all. Salute to anyone who's doing it. I ain't got the time and effort to do
it. Hell yeah, man. So we kind of touched on this already, but just to get it in a more concise soundbite, how important is getting features from big name artists?
Depends what you want out of it. So for me, I would say, if you're trying to hit an avenue and test your pen, 100% do it. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. Also, invest in yourself. I invested in myself immediately. I'm on 3rd year, and I'm going to continue investing in myself if it makes sense, So test your pen, work with the legends you want to work with, and make some great music.
Yeah, man, I agree. Take it out of the promotion budget or whatever. If you've got a little bit of money to help get the music out there, getting a big name feature might be one way to do it for sure.
100%.
How about physical location? How important is where an artist lives?
Depends. I think that's subjective. If you're outside and you're really about this music shit, it definitely 100%, that should be important to you. But if you got some other shit going on, you're not really trying to be that next big shot.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah, for real, man. And the internet is a beautiful thing. I mean, I've talked to a lot of different artists from the middle of nowhere in Lethbridge out here, man. So
yeah, like I'm repping Toronto forever. From there, lived there, recently moved out. I'll forever rep it.
Yeah.
But you know that I'm not really outside like that because I got a personal life, like I've said. Like some of these people are really, really deep in this shit. Yeah. Trying to make it, and it's like, man, I'm glad that ain't me. Yeah, no stress.
Some artists come from the school of thought where it's like, and I've heard, you know, like Wendy Day or whatever, like big name artist management people say that like you need to go all in on this if you want to fucking make it as an artist. Quit your day job and fucking move to LA and live in your car or whatever, right? Yeah.
My mortgage costs more than fucking people's whole career.
For real, man, for real. How about fashion? How important is an MC's fashion? You got a track where you're talking about being the Dapper Don and shit, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, that too, the Dapper Don was a like an Irish, so that's an Irish mobster.
Right.
Where he wore like a suit. So that was a play on that. Now I think fashion in a sense is, but by all means, I'm not no Kanye West or like I love my clothes, but I'm not gonna go do a music video unless I have Louis Vuittons on or Gucci and shit, you know. So I do think you should be true to yourself, though. Like where you know what you're trying to possess as a person. You know, whatever your image is, stick to it.
Nice, man. So this is interesting because, interesting because you're about to get married here. But
yeah,
how important? And this is one that's a new question I've added to the list. But how important is having the right romantic partner for an artist?
Actually, I think that's a great question. My partner, thankfully, has allowed me, you know, the time that I need when I'm creating. She's not pushed back on anything I've done. She's helped push me in ways I needed to be pushed.
Yeah.
I think the right partner can actually be a benefit to you, and also it could be a hindrance. You know, sometimes you could have a partner that's constrictive, maybe possessive, wants your attention. So, you know, I'm gifted on my sense. She's a blessing. So it's allowed me to do what I can do.
Nice, man. Yeah. How about how important is it for an artist to stay physically fit?
Again, I think that's subjective. You know, it depends what you want out of life too. You know, if you care about your image and your, I guess, your breathing and your general, I guess, life, then yeah, you should try and be a little physical fit. But at the end of the day, if you don't really give a fuck, do you?
Yeah, there's plenty of big MCs out there. Like big himself, you know, was not physically fit, but yeah. We kind of touched on this, and I'll make it more specific than just merch. But how important is pressing vinyl? Let's talk vinyl specifically.
I think vinyl is pretty important now. But honestly, I've been hearing some downward spirals with it now. Like I've been hearing there's a trend that it's kind of people are having a tough time moving vinyl now because it was surging. It was like one of the highest profiting forms of merch. But now it's, I don't know, that things change so much and streaming is taking over that, you know, I think people should be doing vinyl. I think I want to get to a point where I only have merch product where you ain't going to hear this for another year. Yeah. So this is super exclusive. And I think that's how it should be.
Man, that'd be smart, to not release it online digitally anywhere other than that vinyl for.
Like back in the day where you woke up, went to the store and spent $30 on a CD because you know you couldn't hear it unless you had that CD.
For real, yeah, man.
But you gotta have the fan base for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and vinyl is it's a hell of an investment. You know, it's not cheap. So, we were saying earlier about pressing any type of merch, you got to make sure that you've got some dates lined up that you'll be able to move them or whatever.
You need a good $2,000 for a good 100 vinyl.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to front that.
Dude, I think it's even more than that. Last I looked, the cheapest I could find anywhere online was like $3,600 for 100 copies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, right. So you got to be selling them for $50 a pop to even make any type of profit.
Shipping is stupid money. Like I just sent a couple of CDs that cost me like $40 to ship. I was like, this is pointless.
Yeah, well, and then you multiply the size of that, size and weight, a vinyl,
exactly,
a lot more to ship than fucking CDs are going to be. Yeah. How about the ability to freestyle? How important is that?
I personally speak, and I think you should be able to freestyle. I know me, I love freestyling. It's almost what I started off doing. You know, I wouldn't say it's like a necessity, but say you're in a show and you forget your lyric. I've done this live in front of like 200 people. I freestyled a whole fucking song because and no one noticed because you're just able to. So it has its benefits.
Yeah, it's a great fallback plan. Have you ever been, like, I kind of assume, you know, with family life and your career, you're too busy for it now, but have you ever been the type of MC who's out at, you know, the community open mic night or whatever and jumping in ciphers?
No, I haven't really done it. I've done enough ciphers when I'm out and about, though. Say I'm at, like out downtown or something, I'm on a corner after the bar or something. I've done that too many times to count, or I'm at a party or something like that. Like, there's always an opportunity, but I've never been really on an open mic or nothing like that.
Word, man. Yeah. I mean, the corner sidewalk cipher counts just the same. It's
Hell yeah.
a place where MCs are going off the top and impressing people, right? So, yeah, man. How about, I feel like you've got a good grasp on this. I always like to ask people for like a tip for artists coming up. So how about a tip for independent artists trying to promote themselves? Just like, what would you suggest for somebody getting into the game right now?
I would say invest in yourself, invest in your product. So your production, your engineering, like don't half-ass engineering. Make sure your shit's radio ready. Make sure that you have the consistency and drive. You know, don't just think that you're going to put something out and it's going to pop. You got to be relentless and just always make sure that your product is as good as it can get to perfect. Don't chimp out on the production. Like, don't go getting no lease beat 10 for $5. Go find yourself an exclusive. And yeah, I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think, yeah, you got to be careful with those leased beats or whatever. It's only going to get you so far rapping on beats that everybody else can rap on for 25 bucks.
And it's not authentic whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're not building the connection too. Like, I think if you're working with producers who you actually know or who you're actually, you know, messaging back and forth with, at least it's at least another person who's going to promote it when that song comes out, show it to some friends, get it out there a little bit more. Right. So, yeah. Whereas the guy on BeatStars doesn't know or give a fuck who you are. He's down in Tennessee or some fucking place and just selling it to anybody who needs it.
For me, like, I had a first producer really try, because I was a nobody. Like, when I came out with Checkmate, I had 400 followers. Like, I had nobody. So, you know, I bought that first beat off my boy Blanks, and literally we ended up forming like a brotherhood, and he ended up producing pretty much all of Northside. And so now he's my guy. And then that merged into another producer, Old Man 80s, another fire producer from Toronto.
Yeah, I've heard that guy.
We're working on a project already. That's probably coming out next year. It's almost done.
Nice.
And then Imperative. Like, so it's all about building, networking, and proving yourself. I've had to prove myself with features, with production, with radios. Like, you just got to be relentless.
Hell yeah, man. Stay at it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I know you got a busy week, and I know you've been under the weather this week. We tried to do this thing Monday, and you said you had pneumonia. Yeah, I've heard you coughing. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm sure you got other stuff to be doing. Thanks a ton for doing this. Before I let you go, though, I ask everybody I talk to, can you describe the local scene, the local hip-hop scene where you're at?
I would say thriving right now. I've spoke on it before, like the Ason, Eastwoods, the Daniel Sons, the Future Waves, the Old Man 80s, the Blanks, the Shea Unos, the AO Bigs. I think, you know, Tona, he's another guy that I don't know how I haven't heard of this cat, but he's fire.
Yeah.
Sazy, I think his name is too.
Sazy's very dope.
He is. I got to work with that guy too. But anyways, the scene's getting crazy. It's there. It's thriving. Heavy boom bap. And yeah, you know, tap in. Toronto's got some hitters.
Hell yeah, man.
I love it.
Sazy's been producing too. I talked to Sazy, I don't know, a month or so ago, and he's begun producing his own beats and stuff too. So definitely tap in with that guy. Very talented.
100%, bro.
Yeah, man. Any plans for shows or tours or anything we can promote to people who might watch this coming up?
I ain't got none of that, but I do have so my last single from my upcoming album is called Dead Wrong, featuring Shay Noir.
Damn, yeah, and it's produced by DK, right? Out on the East Coast, yeah.
That's right. So that's coming out July 5th. And then this project coming's mainly produced by Body Big Ben. that's coming. Details will all be coming up, but yeah, that's the next single.
Nice, man. Shouts to DK. I've talked to him on
Oh
Fly
yeah,
Information as well. He's
he's a
dope
good
as
lad.
fuck. Yeah, man.
100%.
What's the best way for people to support you or other artists that they like?
Yeah, you know, best would be is to go to jrobertsmusic.net. That's my website. Also, my Bandcamp. You can go into my Instagram, click the link,
Yeah.
and all my stuff's there.
Beautiful, man. Most active over on Instagram, probably.
That's where I'm. Yeah, that's predominantly where you can find me.
Right
That's
on.
my emails on there, my DMs. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, dude, yeah, thanks again for your time. I wish you nothing but more success in the future and happiness and health to you and yours. Congratulations on the wedding coming up. That's big. So, yeah, man, thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you having me, man. Take care.
Hell yeah, peace.
Peace.
All right, everybody. That was JRoberts, dope MC out of Toronto. I'm happy that we took the time to do this. If you didn't know, you can find these interviews audio only attached after the @sick mixes that we do every week playing independent hip hop. This week I got a new mix from DJ Dice that I'm still working on to put up tomorrow. That's my work for tonight. I'll be toiling away over on Twitch. So people can always come through twitch.tv/Doobyis, say hi and chat. If you got questions during these interviews, that's the place to ask them. I'm doing a lot of these interviews here through June, and then I'm going to take at least July off, might take August off. We'll see how things go, but through June, I'm talking to Mitchell Lawler June 8th. I'm talking to K-Blitz on June 11th. Those guys are both Edmonton-based MCs who I've, slapped hands with in the past. Can't say I know either of them too well, but have been around on the local scene with those guys, seeing them doing a lot over the last, 15, 20 years. And they're still putting out dope music, so I'm looking forward to talking to them. June 15th, I talked to Big Tones. June 18th, I'm talking to Young Prince Beats. June 22nd, talking to King Juss. June 25th, like I mentioned to JRoberts there, I'm talking to Imperative. They've done work together in the past. You should definitely go check that out. It's up on streaming platforms. And then June 29th, I talked to Alchemy the Linguist and Donnie Sage. And after that, I'm going to go find a beach somewhere and chill out for a bit. You can always find the mixes over at mixcloud.com/Doobyis, or Doobyis.com is the hub for everything that I do. You spell it Doobyis. I appreciate y'all. Lots of love. Thanks for coming through. Peace.